Fonz here with Rick and Rob's Outdoor Adventures. We got here a DC Sports intake system, short ram air intake for the 2010 Civic Si. I'm gonna do a little unboxing here for you guys. So most importantly, we got two stickers here. You already know what that does. 5 horsepower each. Next, we got the air intake tube. We got a bunch of hoses and clamps. And then last but not least, we got your DC Sports air filter. Filters out all the bad stuff you don't want in your engine. So we're going to take you guys through this install here. Hopefully we don't screw up. Alright, now we're going to let you guys hear what the stock intake sounds like. Alright, first step, we're going to unhook the negative terminal and the positive terminal, and we'll show you guys what it looks like. First, let me get the right tool here. Dang it.
Alright, start over. I didn't push record. Go now.
Once you've unscrewed all the bolts or nuts, whatever they're called, you just take the battery out. Go. Next step, remove the harness clip to the air mass sensor. It looks like this. Harness clip, air mass sensor. You just press down, just like that.
Alright guys, this is Ricky from Rick and Rob's Outdoor Adventures. I'm going to show you the next step in the installation process. And I don't know if you can see this, so bring it in here. There's going to be 4 clamps on this air intake box, alright? They easily pop out. You just put your finger on it, pop them out. There's going to be 2 on the sides. You just pop them down, 2 on each side, and then 1 in the back. And then this big part comes off. Alright, you see that? Now zoom out a little bit so they can see what it looks like. See how this part has not come off? Next thing you do, show them in here. You remove this air filter. It simply comes out, set it aside. Alright? Next step you do is you're going to have a couple of 10mm bolts. A 10mm socket will do just fine. You unscrew those. We've already unscrewed them. So I'm just going to, it's already hand loose, so I'm just going to loosen this up. And then this part should just pop right off. Okay? And that's pretty much it. And we'll show you the next step.
Alright guys, after removing the 2 10mm bolts, we're going to take this plastic housing / tubing out. Weight reduction. Here's how it goes. Alright. There's that. There you go.
Weight reduction, bro. Alright guys, once you've removed that hosing down here, next thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the airflow sensor, and then you're going to unscrew these clamps here to remove this intake box. So all you do to remove the sensor is you pull it out, you just leave that there, unscrew these. We've already unscrewed them a little bit. Remove these clamps. You're going to want to take your airflow sensor out and put that to the side. Because you're going to need that when you install your new air intake. So you'll put that to the side, and then you just take this clamp out. Just like that, and this should pop off. And we'll show you the next step after this.
Alright, next step. Bring it in close over here. We're going to remove this clamp. We already loosened it though for video purposes. So you just loosen this, comes off.
Can you see?
Next step that we're going to do, we're going to undo this clamp right here.
Show me that clamp.
We already loosened it so that it'll be easier to get off.
We'll get a little bit back so we can see where it is.
So, just gonna remove it. I'm gonna remove this hose, like so. And then the next step, we're gonna be removing these clamps so we can get the hose totally off. Step. What you're gonna do is you're gonna undo this clamp here, undo this clamp right there with a flathead screwdriver, and then undo this clamp right here, and then we're going to take all these hoses out. You can do it.
So that just pops off right there. This clamp just squeezes off. Squeeze it, slide it down, and with a little bit of twisting and some elbow grease, that should pop off. Here it comes. I swear it's coming. Damn.
I'm gonna fast speed this part to make it look.
Honda. They put their stuff on good, I'll tell you that much. It's coming. That just pops out right there. Set that off to the side.
Anything else pop off?
This coolant
Pendulum.
this coolant pendulum also comes off. All you do is you grab these clamps here. You may have to use needle nose pliers. You slide them down, and we might have to show you in the next video because this does not want to come off either. But we'll get it off. You want to hang on to your factory clamps because you're going to use those for your hoses too. You're going to hang on to those. Alright guys, next step is we had to cut out because we couldn't get it off. But we figured out this coolant pendulum here takes a lot of elbow grease to get off. I was actually leaning back, putting all my body weight on it, and was able to get it off. So now it's loose, but you may have to have some elbow grease, and this just pops off. What you want to do here is you want to hang on to these factory clamps because you're going to use them on your hoses. Alright? And now you just slide these off, and we're going to show you how to install the hoses provided with the DC intake. Alright guys, so the next step we're going to show you here, if you'll bring it into the engine, you're going to install these two hoses. Now I wasn't able to show it on video because it took a lot of effort and my recording man needed to help me out. But this is your 8mm hose. This will connect to your air intake, and it connects right up here where you have the coolant pendulum, okay? You just use the same factory clips that came with it. So the same clip that was here, you'll put it right back on. Bottom hose, this is also provided in the DC intake system. Screws down here, just where the previous hose was, and just put the previous clamp back on it, alright? This one right here, it just pops back on, alright? These both are going to connect to your intake system, but we'll go over that in the next step. As you can see, this just connects right here. This 8mm hose just connects right here, alright? Next thing we're going to go over, as Fonz leaves us to go to Six Flags, freaking Ricer.
Sorry guys. You're in good hands though.
Is you're going to put in this air sensor here, and this just goes on with a couple of screws onto the top of your intake, okay? So that just screws on. We're not going to show that on video, but that just screws on, and you'll see when we put it in how it connects to the airflow sensor that we previously took off, okay? Alright guys, so this is your air intake system. You're going to just take the hosing that came with it, you're going to take the pipe tubing, you're just going to connect it, You've already connected your mass airflow sensor, all right? And now what we're gonna do is just take these hoses. The smaller hose will connect to the smaller piping right here. The bigger hose will connect to the bigger piping, all right? We're gonna do that, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to connect it back to the deal right there, all right? All right, guys, so if you bring it in here, this 8mm hose that connects to your air intake, we encountered a problem. The stock brackets that come with it, or the stock clamps that come with it, are way too small to fit this on. So what we did is we went and we got some zip ties, okay? And we're just gonna zip tie this down. You wanna make sure it's really tight though. And I put 3 zip ties just because I want it to be secure. So I'm just gonna zip tie this down. And then I'm gonna cut the rest of the remaining zip tie when it's done. Just for aesthetic purposes, but you can see it's locking there in place. And you just want to make sure that hose is not going anywhere, which it's not. Alright, cut it. That's not going anywhere.
Farther to go. Farther, all the way in. Oh, yeah.
Alright guys, the next thing you're going to do, pretty simple process. After you put your 8mm hose on, we have it secured with zip ties. You're going to connect your air filter. Alright, so your DC intake system is going to come with an air filter. It's going to come with this connecting hose as well as 2 clamps. Pretty easy. Stick the air filter in. And then you're going to tighten the screws on those 2 clamps right there. Alright? So we'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Alright guys, one thing that we wanted to show you. When you're hooking up these clamps, when you're connecting your air filter to the piping, you want to put one clamp kind of high up to the filter itself and then one a little bit lower, just so the first clamp can secure the filter to the tubing, and then the second clamp down low can secure the tubing to the filter. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pretty much, all you do is just slip your air intake in here, make sure it fits. You know, you can kind of wiggle it around a little bit before you put the clamps on. You just want to make sure it fits. So we're going to take a few minutes, get it to fit, and then we'll show you guys. Alright guys, so what we just did in here is we attached the air filter, and then we just hooked up the plastic hosing here. We put one clamp right here, and one clamp to your piping. And then we also we took your air hose sensor and hook it up to where you mount it on the intake. I was going to try to show you guys, but I hooked it up and now I can't get it off, so I don't want to break it. But it just clips in, it pops in, just like a USB cable. So I think we're just going to put the battery in and test it out. And make sure everything is nice and tight. I also put this little DC, little decal they give you. That adds 15 horsepower, so we're looking at about a total gain of 110 horsepower. Alright guys, so we just put the battery back in. Everything seems to be in place. Next thing we're going to do is the final step. Is you apply your DC Sports official decal, okay? I'm just going to try not to screw this up. Just try not to screw it up. This will add between 7 and 10 horsepower, not the intake, the decal. Alright guys. Oh, this sucks. The sticker they give you sucks.
It's not even proportional, dude.
Oh shoot, guys.
Well, looks like it won't add as much horsepower as we once imagined.
Oh, flip. DC sorts? Do not add the stickers to your vehicle. Next step is to remove the stickers from your vehicle because they suck. Now we're gonna start it up, see how it sounds, okay? And then we'll put them side by side so you guys can do a comparison. Alright, here comes the startup.
Yep.
Alright guys, Rick and Rob here again. Just to finish up the video on the DC Sports intake. I've been driving it for around 3 days, but before I tell you what I think about it, I'm going to let Rob tell you the difference that he noticed as a person who doesn't drive it on a daily basis. So Rob, what do you think?
Well, whenever we first put it in, I immediately noticed a difference. It's just louder. When he hits VTEC, it gets way louder. You can hear the air being sucked in. It's a, you know, for the price, it's a great modification.
And then one thing I wanted to say, like, I looked at the recordings, and you'll hear them in the video side by side, and I don't know if it wasn't in the garage. It was because we did it in the garage, but it doesn't do it justice. It's a lot louder in person, hearing it. I did notice just a tad. You don't notice a lot, but you just notice a tad little bit of performance gains. And then when you hit VTEC, it really pulls a lot harder. So here in a little bit, we're gonna try to just do a couple runs and see what you guys think of the sound from inside the car. And they're not gonna be, you know, hardcore runs. They're just gonna be little ones.
I don't think there's any cops there, dude.
Go on cop watch for a little bit.
I don't think there's any cops. Because we know two of the, I mean, I think there's only like 2 or 3 cops on duty at a time, and 2 of them were at the thing.
All right.
You try another one right here?
Yeah, we'll try another one right here.
All right, one more. If you notice, once it hits VTEC, it like just boosts, magnifies the sound.
We got a car coming, so we're gonna stop, but that's pretty much it right there.
All right.